Social movements to end segregation in the United States have had a significant impact to create equality for African Americans.
Starting in the early 18th century, we can still see inequalities between blacks and whites today.
Social movements surrounding this issue have aimed to change segregation for total equality and still continue to do so today.
In 1833, the same year Britain outlawed slavery, the American Anti-Slavery Society was established. It came under the leadership of William Lloyd Garrison, a Boston journalist and a social reformer. Yeah!
On January 1st of 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation was when President Abraham Lincoln issued this event during the Civil War, declaring all slaves of Confederate territory to be free. It didn't immediately end slavery, it changed the character of the war and laid the groundwork for the 13th Amendment.
In 1868, black codes and Jim Crow laws. Following Reconstruction, Southern states enacted black codes and Jim Crow laws to enforce racial segregation and disenfranchise African Americans. These laws perpetuated racial inequality and violence against African Americans. The 14th Amendment to the Constitution gave black people equal protection under the law. In 1870, the 15th Amendment granted black American men the right to vote. Still, many white Americans, especially those in the South, were unhappy that the people they had once enslaved were now more or less equal in the playing field.
In 1957, the Civil Rights Movement gained enough momentum when the U.S. Supreme Court finally made segregation illegal in public schools from the case of Brown v. Board of Education. In 1957, Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas, asked for volunteers from all black schools to attend their formerly segregated schools. On September 4th of 1957, 9 black students known as Little Rock 9 arrived at Central High School to begin their classes, but were instead met by a National Guard and a screaming and threatening mob. Little Rock 9 tried again a couple of weeks later and made it inside, but had been removed for their own safety when violence ensued. Finally, President Dwight Eisenhower intervened and ordered federal troops to escort the Little Rock 9 to and from their classes at Central High. Still, the students faced continual harassment, and their efforts, however, brought much needed attention to the issue of desegregation and fueled protests on both sides of the issue.
In 1955 to 1956, the Montgomery bus boycott sparked by Rosa Parks, an African-American woman's refusal to give up her seat to a white man, was a political and social protest campaign against the policy of racial segregation on the public transit system of Montgomery, Alabama. It was a foundational event in the civil rights movement in the United States of America.
The March on Washington was a massive protest that occurred in August of 1963, when some 250,000 people gathered in front of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., also known as the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. This event aimed to draw attention towards the continuing challenges and inequalities faced by African Americans a century after emancipation. It was also the occasion of Martin Luther King Jr.'s now ironic I Have a Dream speech. On November 4th of 2008, Barack Obama became the first African-American man to be elected President of the United States. His election not only marked a historical milestone in American history and symbolized progress towards racial equality in the United States. In 2013 till now, the Black Lives Matter movement can see significant traction in the 2010s, but its roots could be traced back to the freeing of George Zimmerman and the shooting of Trayvon Martin in 2013. The movement protested against police brutality, systematic racism, and racial profiling, gaining widespread attention after the killing of Michael Brown and Ferguson in 2014 and Freddie Gray in Baltimore in 2015.
George Floyd, a 46-year-old African-American man who died in Minneapolis after being handcuffed and pinned to the ground by Derek Chauvin, a white police officer. Bystanders captured a video of the officer behind a police car using his knee to pin down Mr. Floyd by his neck. Mr. Floyd is heard repeatedly saying, "I can't breathe," in the video. After the death of George Floyd on May 25th, 2020, protests and unrest have rocked Minneapolis and other cities across the United States. Tens of thousands of people have swarmed the streets to express their outrage and sorrow. during the day, continuing with vandalism and looting during the night. Since the death of Mr. Floyd, protests have erupted in the last at least 140 cities across the United States, and National Guard has been activated in at least 21 states. This is police brutality and civil unrest.